Good morning, guys. Happy Monday. I hope everyone's had an amazing weekend. It's Monday, the 7th of July, and this is your daily market outlook for today. Before we do get into any of the charts, I just want to quickly cover the fact that this content on the channel is for educational and informational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor, and nothing shared here should be considered financial investment or trading advice. Always do your own research before making any financial decisions. Understand that trading and investing always involves risk, and you should never risk more than you can afford to lose. So, with that being said, we're going to share the screen, or reshare the screen, should I say, and get straight into the chat. So, you guys should be able to see my screen now. Perfect. So, before we do start, I just want to let you guys know that as from Thursday, I will be away on holiday in Greece. So if there's any, no obviously videos or anything, it's because of that. I am away for a week. So I plan to obviously switch off away from this and obviously have a little holiday for myself with my missus. So yeah, just to give you guys some information. Again, I might be uploading, I might not. It just depends on obviously what I'm doing when I am there time wise. So yeah, now that you guys know that, we can get straight into this daily market outlook. Before we do get involved in any chart work, I just want to quickly cover the news. So again, for me, I use forexfactory.com for any news going into the week. Monday, you can see nothing at all as of today. Then going into Tuesday, we've got some red folder news for the Australian dollar. And then Wednesday, we have some New Zealand dollar red folder news and also US dollar red folder news, FOMC meetings, minutes at 8 p.m. my time. And then Thursday, we have unemployment claims. So that one, should be a big one going into that. And then Friday, we have unemployment rate for the Canadian dollar, employment change as well for the Canadian dollar and some Great British pound news. So Thursday, with unemployment claims for the dollar is a big one. That's what we'll keep an eye on going into this week, as always. And then just before we do get into the charts, I want to, obviously advise you guys, or ask you guys, should I say, if you don't mind, make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Make sure you get the notifications turned on. Make sure you're liking the videos, commenting on the videos. It means a lot. If you want to stay connected, just go to my bio. I have my free Telegram group in there. I have my only Instagram because there's quite a lot of fakes. And then I have my form to basically work on a one-to-one basis with myself. So make sure you do that. And then as for that, let's get straight into the charts for today. Let me just remove this. Okay, perfect. So looking at the dollar from a daily time frame, as you guys can currently see from a naked eye, we are extremely bullish going into today. We've had a lot of bullish movement. As you guys can see, the past 1, 2, 3, 4 days when the charts have been open from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Monday, we've been bullish. Now, you guys will probably know that I've been talking about the fact that we have a lot of imbalance to refill here. So again, we've tapped into this one here. Now my next target will be up here to fill in that imbalance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of some of these this noise here. And I'm going to just, point out the fact that we have this imbalance on the daily time frame here. And then also we have this large institutional wick. So you can still see that this is our daily range from this daily lower high to this daily lower low. So, are we potentially just seeing a pullback to rebalance the markets and then eventually get that shift away where we then go and create that new daily lower low. That is obviously one thing that, we can predict because if we zoom out, you can see that the dollar is obviously extremely bearish. So, from a dollar perspective, we're just going to carry on with this bearishness. Let's see. So let me just mark this out for the daily time frame, daily imbalance. And then let's go to the 4 hour and see what's going on. So looking at the 4 hour, you guys should be able to see that obviously we tapped into this daily imbalance and then we had this movement away, but we failed to break this low. And if you guys remember from Friday, we was talking about the fact that This is our 4 hour higher low, this is our 4 hour higher high, and this is our 4 hour break of structure. So where these dashed lines are, as you guys can see from here to here was our daily, sorry, our 4 hour range. Now, as you guys can see, this was our 4 hour candle, and then within inside that 4 hour candle, we have this 1 hour demand candle as well. And all the market has done is same as always, rinse and repeat. You know, we've moved now away from this. So we're obviously breaking this current higher high on the 4. So my first thoughts is obviously we got 28 minutes left from this 4 hour candle. You know, I want to see how personally how this body finishes. So let's say the body finishes above this, then I will, which it should most likely do, I will class this as obviously a 4 hour break of structure. Now, with that being said, if that's a 4 hour break of structure, my next zone would be from a 4 hour this institutional candle here. That'll be my next 4 hour demand candle. And I also like this because if you look at this low here, which taps into this the demand first, we actually wicked below this low and took the liquidity. So if I just go to the 1 hour, it should be a bit more clearer. Let me just remake this. Well, to be fair, it barely did actually. It's created equal lows. But anyway, that's my first thoughts from the dollar on the 4 hour is we obviously have a lot of this imbalance to refill. So, you know, for me personally, can we see the same thing happen where, you know, the market creates um, a new higher low into this demand area, either mitigating further or obviously just filling in this imbalance here to then go and create a new higher high. So basically rinse and repeat, you can see here higher high, sorry, we had a lower high, lower low, higher high, because we pretty much broke on the 1 hour, higher low, higher high. This saw a demand, market come back in, didn't tap into that demand but filled in this imbalance, then we get a new higher high. Same again, this is our higher low, this is our higher high, market comes back into what? This 4 hour candle, but we refined it to the 1. And then obviously then moved away. So same scenario is, can we see this potential happen for the US dollar? So that's the main thoughts going into the 4 hour. If I look at the 1, yeah, I'm just going to focus on the 4. We look at the 4 hour, pretty clear to understand, and then that leads me on to Euro USD. So obviously Euro USD, if you look at where we are currently at from before, we are still in that range from this low here. Let me just show you. I'm going to obviously break this down so you can understand. But this is our higher high, this is our higher low. Let me look at this. We had this imbalance to refill here. We was creating this liquidity below, and we had this fresh 4 hour demand area. Now, as you guys can see, the market came down, filled in the rest of this imbalance and tapped into this 4 hour candle here. So you can see, and that's where we managed to catch, well, actually went up to 1 to 4, which our exit point was at this imbalance here. At this imbalance here. We watched the way the market moved, it slowly climbed back up, and then we decided to take profits on here. So if you look at this, let's remove this actually. We don't need to see this, we don't need to see this. If you look at the way that the market is moving currently, you'll be able to notice that, of course, with inside this range, the market has pretty much come up. Let me get rid of that. We have obviously this, we had this little trend happening. Then we broke to create this downtrend, lower low again, lower high for this 1 hour supply, lower low, and now it seems like we've created this lower high to potentially go and create a new lower low, which would align with our dollar perspective if the dollar is going to be bullish. So as you guys can see, this was a valid 4 hour supply candle, and you guys can see the trend that's going on. If we just remove it, you can see lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, potential new lower low. So that is my main thoughts for today. Is, you know, we reacted from here. So personally, I'm going to see how this closes. I would like to see, you know, this area of 4 hour demand, well, realistic for our supply. What I'd realistically like to see would be this area here for our supply. But let's just do this area because this is where the consolidation was. Would be our next area to potentially look for shorts from, or me look for shorts from, into here, see how we react, and then obviously fall away from that. So that'll be my next 4 hour area personally. So I'm going to mark out this with the dash, so we can see the range that we're currently in between. Dash line. Let's make it blue just for something different. In between here and here. And as you guys will probably already know, if you look at this scenario here, we have some imbalance, a lot of imbalance to fill. We have a lot of, lows, liquidity that we could be taking. So it would make sense if we do push down, obviously looking at the trend that's going on. So let's see what happens with that. Let me just make sure I mark this out. This will be is 4, but also 1 hour. There we go. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at for Euro USD to carry on from this level here. GBP USD. Oh, GBP USD. Let's see what's going on with her. If we go to the daily time frame quickly, you'll be able to notice that the market is, obviously just moving away slowly as we speak. We didn't quite tap into this daily candle here. So yeah, obviously we've not had a full pullback for myself to look for any sells to then, obviously catch this. But what we can obviously see is that if we look from a naked eye, we have this imbalance here to refill. We have this low to take. So I do think we'll come lower, fill in the rest of this imbalance and take out this low here. So that is my main thoughts for this line here around the 300 area is where the imbalance starts. And with that being said, you can see that this is my daily higher low, which is here, and obviously my daily higher high, which is here. So it would make sense to at least, as a minimum, if we was to carry on bullish, to at least dip below the 50% mark of this daily range, fill in the rest of this imbalance, and then slowly make our way up. But again, we have to have multiple time frame analysis in alignment. So let's see what happens with this on the daily. Going down to the 4, what can we see? Pardon me. So you can see that obviously the market didn't tap into this area here. So the market didn't tap into this supply area here. It didn't come anywhere near, but we are slowly starting to, move away. So you can see that if you look at this, obviously the market slowly started to try and make its way up, and now it's, kind of just melting off. So same scenario, I prefer EU, as they have done for some time. But, my 1 hour range, I'm pretty sure would be from, at the moment, this lower high here. Let's make it blue again. To where this current low is. So what I would like to see is this supply candle here, 4 hour supply candle met. Of course, as you guys know, if you want to refine that, you can do, and I would refine it to this supply. But just for this purpose, we can use this consolidation phase where the market's broke out. And yes, as you guys can see, we have a lot of imbalance that the market needs to basically, refill again. So that would be what I would be looking for GU is, a market to carry on from here. Obviously, if we drop down to the 1 hour, that'll be a lot more clearer to obviously see. And as you guys will be able to, you'll be able to see this is where that 1 hour change of trend is. There, and as you guys can almost see, we almost tapped into this supply zone. But yeah, let's see how this plays out going into the rest of today and this week. We are just melting off, and the dollar is obviously just extremely bullish. So yeah, let's see how what we can get from this. Now, AUD USD not been moving nice at all from this demand area. You guys will be able to notice that, we obviously tapped into this imbalance. We failed to create a high. We come back, took out these lows, again failed to create a high. And obviously, if you look from hindsight now, you'll be able to see that the market was obviously just, basically creating them lower lows and then lower highs. So, easy to be said and done. But as you can see, beauty of a trade from this 1 hour supply, which we talked about last week, which was from here. Market obviously came up and then obviously went. So as you guys can see, let's look at this current scenario. Let's go back to the 4. So what can we currently see? Well, for me personally, we've broken this 4-hour range now, so I can get rid of this noise. I can get rid of all this noise that we don't need, and we can have a bit more of a clearer understanding. So if you guys look 4-hour range, for me now, obviously my range would be personally from a 4-hour this 4-hour lower high and this 4-hour lower low at the current moment. And then this would be where that 4-hour change of trend was. So where do I expect the market to come out to on a 4-hour? Well, on a 4-hour, I would like to see this level here as a 4-hour supply. So, what I would like to see is a market rebalance all of this imbalance here, a lot of imbalance, and then go and create that new lower low eventually. But of course, again, we are extremely bearish. Are we going to get this bullishness to, obviously come back for us? We don't know. So yeah, pardon me, it will be a waiting game. It will be a waiting game to see what happens with this. We have 17 minutes left to break this low as well. So yeah, let's see what happens with that. But same again for the daily time frame. We have a lot of imbalance that we can come and attack down here. So yeah, man, let's see what happens going into this week. It looks like we could have some good setups, to be truthful. If we can get some good pullbacks, into these areas, we can probably look for some good setups, and obviously potential swing ideas. NZUSD, as we can see for our break again here. A lot more, moving a lot more smoothly. If you look from this lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, new lower low. So you guys can, currently see that this is where the market is currently at. If we look at the daily time frame, we have this daily imbalance here. Nothing really as clear as I'd like. Of course, if we look at this looks pretty balanced to me. If I wanted to see this come back, it would be into around this level here, 4-hour supply, or it would be around this deeper retracement level as a 4-hour supply. Now, of course, this is where the imbalance started, but also I wouldn't be surprised if the market, did do this, tapped above this high into the supply, and then had this. So either way, this supply is what I'm going to be looking for. Looking at where the new 4-hour range is. Let's delete this. Let's delete this. It is from this 4-hour lower high here. This 4-hour lower high there, and then this 4-hour current lower low. It'll probably most likely break that anyway. But yeah, you guys can see that is the range. Pretty simple. Pull back, carry on, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So USD CAD, she has been bullish, as you guys can see. Not really had any pullbacks at all. He was in this range where the market obviously created a lower low, lower high, lower low. And then as you guys should remember, we talked about this demand area here. This demand area is where the market was, slowing down. And as we can now 100%, see this demand area held, and it broke from, supply. It brought the supply into this demand area. So we have, gone from being bearish to bullish from this level here. Now let's focus on where the market is currently at. Let me just mark this out. So we could have some potential good setups with USD CAD going into the rest of this week. If we just get rid of this a set, you can potentially see that the market, in fact, no, I need that. You can potentially see the market has done lower low, lower high, lower low, and now we've had this big break. So, for myself, these supply areas are all valid from this. I'm not interested in any sells personally. Of course, we can get rid of this, which it blew out. And then we can focus on the range that is currently going on. We do have some imbalance below here. So, the two things that I've been looking at for this would be, I would want to see either this area of 4 hour demand area met, or if we do dip below, it would be this 4 hour demand area. So, and then take out these two equal lows and the rest of this imbalance. Sorry, I'm trying to get this. It's peeing me off. There we go. Because we do have some 4 hour imbalance there. So yeah, let's see. This would be the two scenarios that I'd have going into this week. Obviously, with low, we're extremely bullish. So, if we do get that pullback, I would like to see this, or obviously this area here. One of either two of these. So let's see what happens with USD CAD. But again, great call out from here. We understood that the 4 hour had to align with this demand. And as now we can see that this 4 hour lower high was broke. So now, we can expect, if this is going to carry on bullish, we can expect to take out all of this trendline liquidity potentially. From all this level of trendline liquidity that we've created, we could potentially see taken out. So again, we could aim for a lot of these wicks out above here. So USD CHF. USD CHF, as you guys could currently see, yes, we're still in this supply, but I expect the bullishness to carry on as it is doing. If you look at this scenario here, if we was to obviously just carry on, we should be breaking this lower low here. But the market is, if you look at the movements from one, two, three candles, well, one big candle to break this previous lower low on the 4 hour. This is just one, two, three, four, five, consolidate, and now we're pushing. So I don't think there's the chance that we're going to obviously carry on low from here. Yes, we're still in this 4 hour supply, but I do expect the bullishness to carry on. And obviously, if you look at this scenario here, you can see a little pullback on the 1 hour, 1 hour lower high, lower low, 1 hour higher high, higher low, and then obviously consolidate here, higher high. Now we pull back to create that higher low, and now we should go and create that higher high. Let me make this black so you guys can probably see it a little bit more, and I can put it to a 3. You can see that the movement of lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, change of trend from the 1. We had a new higher low, consolidate, boom, higher high, and now we're potentially going to be creating this as our higher low. So for me personally, looking at this, I'm expecting the bullishness. Let's get rid of this noise. And where do I expect the market to come into? Well, what I would like to see is, of course, let me just mark this out. What I would like to see is, of course, the market have a pullback eventually, potentially into this level around here as a 4 hour demand. But if we go to the 1, it might be a lot more easier to understand. So we follow the trend, we can see that the market, this is where I would like to see. I would like to see the market potentially, dip, and then obviously have that slow movement away into that. So yeah, man, let's see what happens going into the rest of this week with USD CHF as the rest of the pairs. But we do have the start of the 4 hour imbalance around here. So let's see what goes on. Let's see. But if you understand from a 4 hour, all this is consolidating. So all this is a demand area. So don't be surprised, either if we do the wick and then go, or if we do tap lower and then make that movement up. So just make sure that you guys are aware that that could happen as well. Going into USD Japanese yen. If you look from a daily, we have a lot of, we have this wick that we need to obviously come up and mitigate. So yeah, obviously if the dollar's bullish, we expect this to be bullish as well. From a 4 hour, you can see that the trend that was happening, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, failed to create a new lower high because we didn't break below. Then we've had this. Now this, of course, would be our new range from this higher low to this higher high. And as you can see currently, the market has obviously had a pullback. I was waiting for this demand area to basically be met. But if you look for more of a supply and demand, more of a support and resistance, you can see that the market, is basically coming to around where these touches are. You can see So obviously that's where the market's moving in. So personally, we've got 9 minutes left. Obviously, I think, I would like to see the candle close above that. But the two scenarios that I'd be waiting for to get in this would be this level here as a 4-hour demand. So this is the two scenarios. This level here is a 4-hour demand, like this, to carry on. And USD Japanese yen does get some movement a lot sometimes. Or I'd like to see this dip, fill in this imbalance here, take out these equal lows pretty much, and then get that movement away. So if you look, we have the imbalance that is just above this demand. So let's see what happens today and the rest of this week. Boom. Okay, perfect. So that's it for today, guys. That is your daily market outlook. Hopefully, you guys got some value from this. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Have an amazing rest of your Monday, and we will catch up tomorrow. Take care. God bless.